Hey, what's up, guys? Today is August 28th, 2019, and this is Trail Time. Yeah, you saw it. I almost just fell. This is Trail Time Confessions, and we are on episode 11. And this, what I'm talking about today is my life on the trail. And the last 10 episodes have been just that. What I'm thinking, what I'm doing, what I'm eating, who I'm meeting, and what my life is like on the trail. And doing these videos has really helped me personally, big time, because I'm not only speaking to you guys and connecting with you all, it's also helping to help me move forward and grow as a person, because I'm gaining a much deeper, rich understanding of myself, and it's helping me move forward. And so I just got freaking wet, mud on me. Life on the trail, right? So talking to my camera is essentially talking to you guys, and that's how I think about it, is that you guys are right on the other side, watching me, supporting me, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So as I continue, I wanted to go back to some of the questions that I had solicited from you all in my group, and just touch base on some of those questions, because I want to make sure that all of them are answered by the time I'm done with my journey. And you know, I hit the halfway point, and you know, not gonna lie, over the last, I'd say 10 days since the last time I did my last post, I've been feeling, I don't know, just a little bit different about the trail. I've been feeling a need for newness and connection with other human beings. And, you know, these feelings, these needs are what I'm going to be talking about in the next series for my podcast, and the 6 basic human needs and how they relate to my life over my adult years. I'm going to give you guys some context and some pretext, along with some metaphors on how things relate back to the why, and maybe give you all a little bit of understanding, and maybe just a little bit more deeper connection with understanding who I am. And you know, one might ask, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself out there? Why should you listen? And I'm just a regular guy. You know, I grew up in a small town, and a lot of you may know me, some of you may not, but I'd like to get to know many more people, and one of those is me. And that's why I have been on this journey, this hero's journey, because I needed to find myself again. And having you guys engage into my group and support me and give me encouragement and reassurance. It really helps. It does. And so I had to, again, write some of these questions down. I like to do these videos unscripted, unedited, and raw, because that's real. That's what this is what it's all about. And so I'm going to go through, and instead of going through all the questions, like I did my Aunt Jackie and Tracy's, I'm just going to kind of pick a couple from people who asked the question and wanted to know. So the first question comes from my dad, and he asked, what do I do with my spare time here on the trail? And you know, even though the trail is beautiful, and you know, it's a lot of work, and you know, that's the sacrifice you make, along with many more. But you know, hiking can take 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 hours sometimes. So depending on where you're at in your trek, you know, you may not have a lot of free time, and that's really been the case, because as a SOBO thru hiker on the PCT, you don't really have too much wiggle room. You're on a schedule, and the schedule has to do with Mother Nature and the timing of the snow in the Sierras, or you know, your life calling you back, maybe lack of resources, many different things. So you know, what are some of the things that I do on the trail to help keep me sane and with my free time? And so doing these videos is one of the things that I like to do with my free time. And you know, I do enjoy the campfire, so I had one last night, and that really helped to fill some of my cups up with happiness and fulfillment, because making a fire for me brings me back to, you know, some of the good times in my life that I've shared with my family and friends, sitting around a campfire as a child and even as an adult. And so we do that quite a bit back home in Wisconsin, and as we go up north, and even in our homes, you know, with fire pits, and you know, sitting around the fire, looking into the flames, it really helps to solidify your thoughts, and it can actually really help to inspire you to do things. So there's magic in that. You know, I brought a book with me that I still have, The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell. So in the morning, I take time for myself after I journal about my previous day, about what I did. And in the beginning, I put a lot into that, and you know, into that journal entry, as far as how I was feeling, things that happened. And recently, I guess it's progressed or regressed only to some simple facts: mileage, where I stayed, and how far I went, and also you know, maybe a special event, some person that I met, things like that. So other free time activities for me would be actually going into town, getting a real meal, eating some food, some good food that I necessarily don't get on the trail, even though food is good, all plant-based. So free time out here is really time to myself, to help make me feel good. So I'll listen to music, all different genres of music. I actually fantasize quite a bit. I visualize a lot of different things that, is imagination. And out here on the trail, when you're not distracted from the daily grind and activities and things and pressures of society, it really helps to open up your imagination again. And that's been amazing to have that, come back to that, because it's really making me feel like I'm going back to my childhood and opening up some of the boxes that I've closed for myself that I wish were still open. And I'm going to be talking a lot about that on my podcast. And so I'm giving you guys, again, some pretext into my life and, how my life was shaped, over the younger years up until I was 18 and then beyond. So free time is really just observing and soaking in, amazing views. Yesterday, I actually only hiked 4 miles and from Bucks Lake to the lookout. And I knew the lookout was going to be a magical, a meaningful spot for me. And so I took time for myself, and I'm really, really glad I did, because I needed that. And just sitting on the edge of this rock overlooking this an amazing view, it just, the feeling you get is just pure bliss and joy and love. And it really helps to make you feel better, because out here your thoughts just go crazy. They're all over the place, and staying focused, it's not really something that I think about a lot, but I try to just let my thoughts go where they want to go out here and see where they take me. So I hope that answers my question, Dad, or answers your question, I should say. So I'm going to move on, and my mom asks, when are you going to come see your mom? Well, unfortunately, I have a trek to finish. So I will come see you when I'm done. And that's most likely going to be sometime to mid the third week in October, I'm hoping. So ultimately, we'll be completely done and back in Milwaukee by the end of October. I want to be back for my dad's birthday for sure. But I do have to go back to Washington and visit my brother before I come back home and take back all the stuff that I've sent him over the last 3 months. And I'm sure it's piling up. So the second question for my mom is, what made you want to decide to do this hike? And I thought about that quite a bit, and May was a very difficult time for me. It kind of flew by really quick, but I remember a friend messaging me and asking me if I could drop everything and go on vacation somewhere, and money wasn't an issue, what would you do? And with conviction and 100% certainty, I said I would go hike the PCT. And that was actually just a couple weeks before I made the decision to come on this hike. So, looking back to May and hitting that tipping point with my business and having to shut it down and figuring out what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life is not necessarily a question that you can answer really quickly, or I guess it's not really a decision that you want to make irrationally or quickly, and which is possibly what I've done in the past, and I think some of those decisions from my past have gotten me in the same loop, and I've definitely learned from that. And as I was driving home from the gym, I thinking about my life, and the gym was my life, and it was everything that I've ever wanted. And owning my own business, helping people, being a trainer, contributing back to my community and helping people was what I wanted for my life. And having those feelings of pain and death of my business, I was driving home, and it was a beautiful day. The sun was shining, and initially, I had thought to myself, all right, I've wanted to move to Florida for 15 years now, even before I started my business. I've been saying it for a long time, and so jeez. You're gonna see that quite a bit, actually, and I hope it makes these videos a little bit more interesting. So as I was driving home, again, having these feelings of sadness, but also looking out the window and seeing the sun shine down and people walking and smiling and going about their day, I thought to myself, why the hell am I rushing to Florida? Even though my best friend is there, and I'm sure he wants me there. But, why am I rushing to go restart my life in a place that's warm 24/7, 7 days a week? So I was like, there's no rush. Why is there a rush? I need to take this time for me, for myself, to think about my life and go through this hero's journey so that I can come out on the other end a different person than I once was, and truly uncover who I have meant to be. And I guess over the last couple years I've felt lost and a little there's been lack of confidence, especially with the decline of my gym and my business, and the insecurities just fill in, and I needed to do something to regain my confidence back in myself, to do something that was beyond myself, that was and is what I'm doing now on the trail, because the energy that you are able to put into the soil, into this line, the earth absorbs that energy and replenishes it back to you with joy and understanding. And it helps you reconcile pain and fear and insecurities. And so that is why I'm here, and that's why I decided to do this trek. Of course, there are external rewards of being out here, the views, the beauty, being in nature. But ultimately, you know, most of us on the trail do this because we are trying to uncover and find our true selves. And I think ultimately we are also seeking happiness and fulfillment because, you know, maybe my needs, my 6 basic human needs that we all share, haven't been fulfilled. My cups have been empty for a long time. And coming from that place of scarcity makes you want to grow. It makes you want to love. It makes you want to contribute. And you may not necessarily know how you can do that, especially maybe, you know, fulfilling those needs. Maybe I was fulfilling those needs, but not in a resourceful or positive way. They were happening with things that I was doing in my head, mostly to myself. And I have an understanding of that now. And knowing that, I feel like I'm a better person for it. And that's ultimately, you know, another reason why I am doing these videos, so that I know there's people out there that may share some of these same fears and insecurities, and if I can help to inspire others to answer that call to adventure, or have a little bit better understanding of your own personal needs and how to fulfill those cups, how to fill those cups up in a positive way. If I can help you to change just a little bit, it's going to make the world a better place and a lot happier place too. So this question comes from Jules, and she asks, when you meet people on the trail, what do you want to talk about? And what is it that you want to know about them? So I'll tell you how it goes when I meet people on the trail. So typically, a couple things happen. I'll either have to stop because people are so in the zone or in the trail flow that they don't even see me. So that's the power of the trail here, is the intense focus that you're just so in your head that you may, you know, if you don't look up, you're gonna miss the person in front of you. And that's so true in life. So if I feel like that person is receptive, or you know, this is a skill that I've gained over the last 10 years of being a personal trainer and doing consultations and just being able to read people's body language. You can feel the energy in people. And if you're really good at what you do, you can pinpoint their specific needs. And if you're a giving person, you can help to bring that person up and help to fill that cup up to make them feel closer to you and just make them have a better day. So usually it starts with, hey, how's it going? You headed NOBO, yeah. Or you headed SOBO, yep. When did you start? Oh, I take the border on June 11th. Okay, cool. And I started on, April 3rd with a bunch of people. Oh, did you go through the Sierras? Yeah, there was a lot of snow. It's what's ahead on the trail, what's behind on the trail, where's water. And sometimes there is a connection that is made, and sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I stop and I talk to that person and ask questions and find out genuinely more about that person. And hearing about other people's lives and other people's stories, and why they've decided to do the trail, what's their background, where they're at in their life, how old they are, it really makes this experience here more meaningful. 100%. It is hearing these stories from other people, it fills my cup of connection, and it makes me feel really good, and it often helps to change my mood for the day as well. So I hope that helps to answer your question, Jules. The last two questions are from Ashley Stewart, and she asks, loneliness on the trail. Do you feel lonely on the trail? And then the second question is, do you have any recurring thoughts on the trail? And I'll answer the first one. And so being lonely on the trail is a given. I'm by myself. I chose this path. And being a SOBO, I knew, southbounder, being that I started a month early than normal SOBOs, or than when normally a SOBO would start. I knew that there was going to be quite a bit of solitude and being alone with myself. And honestly, before I was dating my last girlfriend, and the one before that, I was not alone for 5 years, pretty much. And so there was, I think, an inherent fear of being alone that manifested for quite some time after we broke up, and I struggled with that for quite some time. I would say, maybe a year and a half. And then when I started dating my last girlfriend, just how independent and busy she was, I was essentially forced to be by myself quite a bit, and I learned to be okay with that. There was quite a bit that I had to get over, and getting over that fear was a challenge. And after I started to be with myself for quite some time, I really started to enjoy it, and I really started to love myself and being alone, and appreciating my time that I did have alone, because I realized I'm pretty fucking awesome. And we all are awesome in our own way. And I think, being not alone for quite some time, 5 years of my life, I forgot what it meant to be like by myself. And so, going on this journey on the trek, answering my call to adventure, being alone here has allowed me to, again, reflect on my life, reflect on trauma, reflect on loss, things that made me angry, things that made me frustrated. And that really, I needed that. I don't think I would have been able to achieve, the level of awareness and reconciliation that I have for my life if I was doing this, completely with another person or a group. There's ways that you can, this damn bug is bugging me. There's ways that you can do that and separate from the group, and it's totally okay to do that. But, and I have tried hiking with other groups and or partners, and although the experience is different, I do prefer actually hiking by myself, unless it is with somebody who and which I have a deep connection with, like a close friend or my brother or a family member. And it just makes the experience that much more deep and rich, as opposed to maybe hiking or being with somebody that you don't know on that deeper level. And it's not to say that that connection cannot be made. It's just, I guess you have to be open to that. And maybe maybe I'm not ready for that just yet. So I do get lonely on the trail, and it is a real feeling. And I do things like, for example, I will, like I said, make a campfire when I can. I'll listen to music, all different various types of genres, and which can bring me back to many different periods of my life and or experiences that I've had with other people. So I can visualize that and hopefully get rid of some of that loneliness that I have or loneliness that I'm feeling. I'll do, really loneliness is, is feeling a sense of loss, lack of connection, lack of love. So I will call my family or text a friend and or post some things on Facebook or engage with people on social media to help bridge that gap. Or maybe I will just take time for myself and go into town and actually talk to other human beings rather than the camera or the trees. So I do get lonely, and I try to do positive things that will help to relieve that feeling. But I do acknowledge it and do recognize it, and I do sit in those feelings as well, because I do think it's important to feel that, to have that contrast, so that you can appreciate the times that you have where you don't feel lonely. And it's not a bad feeling, it's just a sad feeling. And so I hope that answers your question, Ashley. And thankfully I haven't been too lonely on the trail because of you guys, and I do have a great support system, and I know that my family and all of you guys love me and support me, and just thinking about that really helps to alleviate any intense loneliness feelings that I do have. So the reoccurring thoughts, I do tend to obsess about a lot of different things, and I think that just comes with my personality and my ability to visualize and manifest what I want. And what I want to happen usually does happen. So I do have to be careful with what I do think about on a reoccurring basis, because there is power in that. And, thinking about something over and over and over and over again until you actually believe it happens, and then it does happen, makes you hella confident, and it makes you actually believe that you can do anything that you want to achieve. And that's where goals and objectives and staying positive all come into play, because reoccurring thoughts, I think it's important to recognize what those reoccurring thoughts are and either put them to bay so that you don't manifest something bad, or put an action plan together so that those positive reoccurring thoughts that you're having actually manifest into something in real life. And to specifically answer your question, Ashley, I do think a lot about meeting my soulmate and falling in love, and finding that person that I can share the rest of my life with. And I realized that I especially over the last 8 years and being committed to my business, and I missed out on quite a bit. And I don't feel like I was able to give my 100% complete self to the people that I've dated in the past, and which led to probably a lot of the conflict and reasons why we're not together anymore. So other reoccurring thoughts are my life in the future. I think a lot about playing music, and so one of the first things that I'm going to do when I get home is I'm going to buy a guitar and teach myself how to play. And hopefully my grandma and grandpa are going to be okay with that, since I'm going to be living with them over winter. So maybe some of the first songs that I'm going to learn are some from their era, to hopefully bring them back to being a teenager again. And so I think a lot about what I want to do in the future. I think a lot about the things that have solidified in what I do want to do. Things like start my plant-based recipe book, and in collaboration with my cousin Aaron, definitely going to start that when I get back. I think a lot about what my new business is going to be about. I think a lot about who and what demographic of people that I want to help. I think a lot about my future and what that's going to look like. And again, these manifesting, reoccurring thoughts will essentially happen, because I will make them happen. And so, even though I may not know how that's going to happen, having faith and just knowing that I'm on the right path now and going through this journey is, and tripping again, is how I'm going to completely find my way. I think a lot about, I try not to think about what the experience is going to be like when I do complete this trek. It's, I'm sure it's going to be a very powerful experience, and I'm open to that. I'm open to all the feelings that are going to rush in, and the transformation being complete. There will be a transition, obviously, of coming back into society, coming back to my home, and working through all of that is going to take some time. So one of the first things, another thing that I'm going to do is spend some time with family, which is going to be super important to the transitional process, because of all the support they've given me throughout the years and on this trek. It just means so much to me to come back and be able to give back as well. And so, although I won't have anything truly tangible to come back with, the reward of doing this trip, doing this trek, for me, is being the person that I've meant to be. Uncovering the real me and being able to come back and give back with 100% me. And so I just realized I've been talking for 42 minutes, so I'm gonna have to chop this video up to make it upload. Otherwise it's never gonna do that. So I'll do a couple parts to this. And again, I want to thank you guys for following along on my journey and supporting me and giving me encouragement and showing me love in my group. And just know that I am doing these videos not to boast about or, shove it in your face at all about, how awesome it is out here and that you're stuck back home. It's not about that. It's about helping to inspire you guys to get outside your box, to get outside your comfort zone and do something, whether it is a through hike, doesn't have to be, but maybe it's something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. It's finding that courage, and in spite of the fears that you have, going out and doing it. So I challenge you all to put yourself into an uncomfortable position at least once a week. Do something that challenges your status quo. Do something that can help you grow. And that is a good way to end this video. So again, this is Trailtime Confessions. This is the raw, unedited, on the trail, me walking, me babbling, me tripping version that I am setting aside specifically for you guys in my group. So this life on the trail is going to be and is only here for you guys. The podcast is going to go into deeper meaning and more stories, and reflecting on how those stories have shaped my life and made me who I am today. And so the first part of that series is going to be on the 6 basic needs that we all share as humans, and then also tap into a little bit of what the hero's journey is, and which will be talked about in further depth after I'm done with the 6 basic human needs. So that is a wrap, everyone. And again, I want to thank you all for your support, and watching me on my journey. And I'm going to get going. You guys all have a great hump day. Take care.